We're here at the Bitcoin.com studio. Bitcoin is well over $100,000 a coin. And so if you guys want to check that out, it's Bitcoin.com. It's been a slow news day. Not really anything going on. Searching for things to talk about. It's, we're going to have to just kind of put together a show here of some significance. First of all, those of you that support the program, that listen to the podcast, thank you. You guys make this show possible, and I love what is coming up in hour 2 today, which is our members call. It's one of my favorite things I do every single week. I interact with you. I learn from you. It's just awesome. And the last 24 hours has been fun. Let me kind of take you back to what happened here. So we've been here in Phoenix. I was in New York prior. Earlier in the week, and hosting the program, pushing for the big, beautiful bill. So we had Stephen Miller on the program yesterday, which, by the way, Stephen Miller put forward one of the best presentations and defenses of the big, beautiful bill that anybody will see. It was phenomenal. I got thousands of emails, freedom@charliekirk.com. Charlie, I went from skeptical to convinced. Our entire show team roster, from Andrew to a lot of people, said they had reservations, but Stephen Miller's case that he made here on long form was incredibly persuasive. As Blake aptly put it, he said, look, this is a conservative wish list. I just wish we weren't bankrupt. And that's a great way to put it. Of course, we want more cuts, but this bill is a gift. It is electric. More tax cuts, more ICE agents, more border funding, more deregulation, more drill, baby, drill. I mean, it is just a conservative wish list. And still with $1.6 trillion in spending cuts. And we wish it was even more. From nationwide voter ID to the $1,000 Trump baby bonus. I mean, it's just across the board. Tax on remittances, tax to be able to apply for asylum, permanent border security. It's great across the board. So Stephen Miller and I were doing this here live on Real America's Voice and live on the Salem Radio Network and live also on X. So we were streaming live on X, and we have no, let's just say, verifiable proof that this is what happened, but we can infer this is what happened. As we were doing the case for the big, beautiful bill, our viewership numbers skyrocketed. People were watching it. They were engaging with it. And soon after that segment that Stephen and I had here, both Stephen and I got unfollowed by Elon Musk. I have no bitterness towards that. I have no reservation. I have no anger. I like Elon. I always have. I'm thankful for him. Him stepping up and buying X was an immense contribution to Western civilization. We've only ever been complimentary of Elon, and I will continue only to be complimentary of Elon, both privately and publicly. And I sent Elon a text afterwards being like, hey, thankful for all that you've done for me and for Western civilization. And, if you ever want to reconnect, here I am. No big deal. And, of course, what ensued after he unfollowed Stephen Miller and I was salvos heard around the world. And I've covered a lot of this extensively. I did a flash podcast episode that you guys can listen to. President Trump has been remarkably restrained in this back and forth because Elon Musk went to go say that we must impeach Donald Trump, and then that Donald Trump is part of the Epstein files. Let me start with the first one. Donald Trump's not getting impeached. Well, removed from office, I should say. He's been impeached twice. Not going to happen. I chalk that one up to men say stuff they don't mean when they get in a fight. And it is true. Men are very different than women. You see, God made men and different women, and those differences are beautiful. When women fight, they will harbor resentment for 35 years. They will remember when a neighbor said something a little bit off-putting a decade ago. Do you remember when Sally stole my parking spot? Do you remember when she... No, I actually don't remember. We as men have a much let's just say short-term memory with this stuff. We could fight and insult, and then we can kind of just dust it off and say, it's all good. So I'm going to chalk that one up to just, as Jesse Waters put it, two roommates that have just kind of gotten a little bit heated. I've seen this time and time again of men that just come to blows and then they'll forgive one another, and then they'll just be fine. Let's go to a baseball game. Let's go to a basketball game. Let's play poker. Let's go get a beer. Whatever it is, there's something in the masculine form that you go to such great extent and you go to such a thermonuclear level, it almost makes the forgiveness in some ways more likely. Just kind of blow off steam. Now, as far as the Epstein thing goes, this one, of course, is a bridge too far in some ways. I still think that President Trump and Elon are going to reconcile. People think I'm nuts for saying this. I made the prediction on Thought Crime yesterday where I said, don't be shocked that before Christmas, all of a sudden there's going to be a report of Elon Musk back at Mar-a-Lago. I know that I'm in the minority here, but I think cooler heads are eventually going to prevail. And just like we had the Abraham Accords and we're going to solve the Russian-Ukrainian war and that we solved the Indian-Pakistan war and that we're going to solve the Israeli-Hamas situation, I think that there will be peace accords between President Trump and Elon Musk. And they will be signed at Mar-a-Lago over 2 scoops of ice cream and steak. I think that there will be the Musk-Trump Accords where they come back together and there will be some reconciliation. But as far as the Epstein thing goes, I have to address this. Number one, the administration is working to get these files out. Apparently, there's a ton of graphic child exploitive material that they have to black out and all this. But there is no evidence whatsoever that President Trump is mentioned in an incriminating way in the Epstein files. And let me just make the most common sense, reasoned argument imaginable. Number one, if you actually look at the Epstein files that were released back in February, President Trump was mentioned in a non-incriminating way. You know who else was mentioned? Like every single person that lived in Palm Beach. The idea that President Trump, and what Elon Musk was insinuating is that President Trump is, let's just say, a really bad person by saying this, is not only is there no evidence, there's evidence to the contrary. He kicked Epstein out of his club at Mar-a-Lago. He actively went to war against Epstein for being very, very creepy. But let's just kind of put on our thinking cap for a second here. Let's just use our reason, a gift given to us by God Almighty. You're trying to tell me that the Democrats, who controlled the entire federal government, were sitting on Donald Trump being in the Epstein files, and they decided to dispatch Fani Willis and Alvin Bragg and Jack Smith to put him in jail for 700 years. They decided to dispatch Letitia James to take away his business empire, all the while they were sitting on a smoking gun of Donald Trump being in the Epstein files. Why wouldn't they have just moved on net? They impeached him twice. So here's Joe Biden, and he has Merrick Garland, and you have Lisa Monaco, and you have this entire flotilla of anti-Trump Democrat activists. And all they'd have to do is not go raid Mar-a-Lago, not go look at documents, not go do the fact that Trump watched OAN and said, go find votes, not the fact that Donald Trump apparently something with Alvin Bragg and Stormy Daniels. No. Instead, all they'd have to do is just open up the files and say, oh, Donald Trump's on the client list. Boom. The FBI was controlled by Democrats and the DOJ. The reason they didn't do that is because it doesn't exist. The Russia hoax would have been completely unnecessary if Donald Trump was on the Epstein client list. It's time for us to use some common sense and some reason for cooler heads to prevail. The Epstein files, I hope, are soon released, and I believe they will be released. I know Cash is working on them, Bongino's working on them, Bondi's working on them. There's a lot of redactions need to happen of individuals' names and victims' names, a lot of legal technicalities. But not for a minute should any of us entertain this salvo from Elon Musk, who I have great respect for and that I'm very thankful for, that Donald Trump is somehow on the Epstein client list. Let your patriotic values guide how you invest your money and save for your future. With Monorail's Patriot portfolio, your investment dollars get out of globalist corporations and into companies that support Christian and American values. Monorail is perfect for anyone who wants to learn how to invest their money like a pro, or a conscious-minded investor that wants to put their money where their values are. Open an account today at monorail.com/Kirk. That's monorail.com/Kirk. I want Elon to know this, and I'm communicating this to any way I possibly can. Just remember how MAGA had your back when the Biden administration threatened to come after you for building that convertible house. And also remember how MAGA had your back when all of these Tesla dealerships were being burned in roars of terror. MAGA had your back when all the cars were vandalized. We had your back, and we will continue. And maybe Elon doesn't care about this. I think that once the passions and the intensity subside, I can make a very good case for this, which is that, Elon, you made a choice. You made a choice to no longer be a man of the left. That is a courageous and admirable decision. However, once you decide to no longer be a man of the left, you will have a target on you. You will have a red laser for the rest of your existence. There is no going back. There is no redemption. There is no forgiveness. There is no reconciliation. There is nothing. The left still wants you gone and dead. There is no way that you can remedy this. They have no tolerance for the non-believer, and they have absolutely no tolerance for the dissident. Anybody that leaves the Democrat Party, anybody that leaves the left and speaks out against them gets treated in a Moscow show witch trial where they will do everything they possibly can to ruin you. We are a little bit different. We're willing to actually offer forgiveness. Oh, you're blowing off steam, had a tough day. We want to hear from you. Again, things might not always be the same, but we understand that people do things that they regret. People evolve and they grow and they mature, and there's a nuance in life. And I'm not willing just to say, oh, cut it off. Look, this is a process. Elon has not really even been in the political space for a year. Remember, it was July 13th when he officially endorsed President Donald Trump. He's a rookie. I've been in this for 13 years. Elon has not even been in this for a year. But understand this, Elon. If you think all of a sudden you can move to the middle and that we're going to start this new political party, do not, and whatever it's worth, it is very unwise to act as if all of a sudden all these people on the left are going to come running back to you. You have a political home. You're doing your best to try to separate from that. And this party is becoming a lot of the things that you've always wanted. You still have Doge, and Doge is warmly received and accepted. And if I were to offer the best possible, let's just say, explanation of how Elon views government, one of the brilliances of Elon Musk, from building SpaceX to building Tesla, is his ability to make decisions at any time, and they are followed. He is the pharaoh of Tesla. What he says goes, there is no question, and it gets followed. Government doesn't work that way. First of all, he's not the president. Secondly, you don't get to tell Congress what to do. It's not a gigabyte factory. It's not Boca Chica, where you're trying to build a rocket. It's something completely different. We only have 3 votes in the House, and that includes a lot of moderates. And you got the SALT people, and you got the Dusty Johnson people, and you got the moderates. And so when you're trying to organize all these different coalitions together, it's a lot different than calling shots at the Boring Company saying, I want to make you drill underneath Las Vegas, make it so. Yes, sir. We are not that form or structure of government, for better and for worse, because sometimes we have to get grinded down by the bureaucracy. And so Elon looks at this and he thinks it's incomprehensible that we just can't have the right thing happen immediately all the time. Remember, the Constitution, the brilliance of it is it spreads out power over time. It sometimes annoys us when we're in power because we want to do stuff very quickly, but it's our saving grace when lunatics like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris get in office, because it spreads out that power. It is a diffusion of the power. And so Elon, as a very effective, incredibly talented CEO, enters into a political space, and he is used to giving orders, and they are followed, and excellence ensues. We want government to get closer to that form, but it's not there. Instead, it requires patience, deliberation, prudence, self-discipline, and doing that over long periods of time.